Alright, so we're on the 390 EVO, and this is the S model, of course, and we're going for some dirt. So it's been raining recently, but it should be mostly dry today. So I'm going to give it a bit of a go going up A-brake, and we'll see how it goes. I've been up many times on my 1290, and sometimes when it gets extremely rutted, it's a bit too difficult on that bike as well. 701 generally doesn't have any problems, but it should be still somewhat graded, so it shouldn't be too bad, I'm hoping. Okay, so this is A-brake coming up here. Late afternoon, Saturday. Looks like no traffic, but bound to be a couple of people up there. I'll just keep my visor peaked down a bit so I'm going straight into the sun. Got no clutch, and here we go. I'm going to start off first gear. Probably going to be mostly first and second. In rally mode, I've chosen customise the suspension, so I've actually set it fairly soft so it'll absorb all the hits. First impressions is, I went to go to grab for the clutch then. I can't stall it, I've got to remember that. Don't need to feather the clutch. This is pretty rutted, so I may not go the whole way. Just going to do this whole section in first. Checking, no traffic. Don't want to encounter anyone. Left hand side looks pretty clear. It's easy. This is with the OEM Meridian 90% road tyres. So because the track is pretty hard packed and dry, these tyres are doing a job pretty well. Okay, looking up there, looking okay. Back to first gear again. Not the lines I want to go on. Might go far right here. Tree root. Oh, this has been a lot more hellish in the past. That's not too bad. So, it's pretty good. Small bump absorption is not as good as the suspension on the R. So the R can be a lot more playful over little jumps and things. I think if the landing is smooth enough, the S can also be playful. Came close to bottoming out there. That sort of bottomed the rear. Yep, bottomed again. I mean, I do have the suspension preload and the compression set very soft, so I might stiffen that up for next time. Yeah, apart from reaching for the clutch when I was doing the hill climb, I didn't really need it. You just got to reassure yourself you can't stall it, you don't need to feather the clutch. The other thing I was thinking of is, for the downhill sections, I like to have some engine braking. So long as you're above the clutch engagement point, which I think is about 1800 RPM, as long as your RPM is above that, then you will get some motor braking as you're going downhill. I've set up the dash to show mostly all the rally mode, but I've also got front and rear tyre pressures displayed in the little bottom window. Going off-road, you know, if I get a puncture, I want to know about it pretty early. And this is with the OEM tyre pressures, so I also want to protect the rims against rock damage. So I don't want the rims to get dented and then lose pressure. This is the final little bit coming up. Transitions from 1 to 2 and back again are super smooth, especially when it's not under load. Yeah. Next thing I'll do is I'm going to firm up that suspension. God, this is rocky. So I think the rain has just washed off all the topsoil, and it's just a lot of exposed rock. And that's A-brake. So it's about as challenging as I want to take this bike on, and it did it really well. So only things I'll change is I'll go through the menu and stiffen the suspension up a bit so I don't bottom out doing a couple of little woo boys. Okay, so going down A-brake now, and I've made those suspension adjustments. So I've made compression rebound front rear stiffer. I thought I had independent adjustment for front spring, but I couldn't see it there. I think maybe it's only the rear. So this is loose, rocky as hell, but basically hard packed underneath and dry. So I'm just taking note of how much engine braking I have when I've got it in second gear. It does tend to roll on a reasonable amount, but it's got enough engine braking. A couple of dirt bikes, they're probably thinking, what the hell? Good, the fast transition back to first gear, no drama. Or jump. Yeah, I think I've got to go stiffer again. It's close to bottoming out there. Oh yeah, that bottomed the front. Okay, let's go back through settings. Stop here for a sec. So I'm going into ride mode set, rally, and I might go back to default settings in the Pro. So Pro options, go back to, I thought there was a reset. So I'm using a little guideline, a little tiny black line on the right side, and I'm assuming it's indicating original levels. So that's quite a lot more. Quite a lot stiffer. Oh yeah, You notice that difference. Now here's that steep section coming up over this next little rise. Oh, look out for traffic first. Stick to left side. First gear, dragging front and rear brake. Ruts, sharp rocks. Yeah, it's alright. Try to get off that rear brake. Engine braking. Slow the rear wheel so it doesn't lock up. Yeah, good. Yeah. Yeah, having it too soft was a mistake. So these firmer conditions, I'll have to try the woo boys out with a bit more speed. But definitely it wasn't bottoming out like it was the first time. I know I could launch off that if I was more courageous. Yeah, that was good. Oh yeah! I think I bottomed the rear out that time, but that was a big lob up and down for this bike. Maybe I'll go a bit stiffer in the rear again. Stuff. So that's engine braking going down, that's no brakes at all. Good, good. So, go back into the menu. Ride, rally, mode set, back down to... I don't think changing the rear preload. Oh, it might. I've got it set on auto standard. I'll change it to auto high. So that should raise the rear up and increase the stiffness of the rear. I'll try that. One thing I do like is with the ABS turned off on the rear and not having to worry about the clutch, you can progressively increase the rear brake pressure and do a nice little controlled skid. And it's not all off and on. It doesn't just like completely freewheel the bike by pulling the clutch right in. It's proportional control. So just coming back on my little favourite ridge road, mostly hard pack dirt, steep edges both sides, not as much rock. So I've got traction set to 0 at the moment. Had a big step out on the last corner. God, these ruts. Bike handles it well though. Maintains its line. I'll try sliding into the corner and then power slide out. I've got to get the timing with the throttle right. It doesn't like it when you're on the throttle. I mean, and the brake at the same time. So when they groom this section, the corrugations are completely gone. Makes the sliding so much easier. The suspension doesn't like the corrugations. The R model used to throw a little error code accelerating over corrugations. That error code would disappear after you start and stop the bike about 4 times. Which is weird, but it is what it is. So this one hasn't thrown errors like that. You give it a bit of a fistful of throttle and you expect the rear to spin, but it doesn't. It just hooks up. So overall, I'm loving this KTM 1390 Adventure EVO. So it's excellent on bitumen, dirt and rain. You know, it's just really good every time I get out there. So I've done 3,200 Ks at the moment in the last 3.5 weeks, and it's been great.